the first start of DWM documentary. Welcome to the late Cretaceous. Carcharodontosaurus saharicus is about to face a very large predator that lived in the same period. This Carcharodontosaurus goes in for another hunt of the pond surrounding lake to face its new and more stronger predator. Carcharodontosaurus was known to be one of the most dangerous dinosaurs living in the African prehistoric history. This Carcharodontosaurus is a male, and it currently facing off a huge predator in the Cretaceous. The predator that Carcharodontosaurus is facing on is Sarcosuchus imperator. Growling at this dangerous semi-aquatic predator, Carcharodontosaurus makes attention by communicating using a roar to this super croc. Sarcosuchus imperator only reached lengths in only 9.5 meters, with a weight of 3 tons. Sarcosuchus was much an advantage to kill this type of dinosaur, even though it would have been shorter than its opponent. With the bite force of about 9 tons, the crocodilomorph might have been also bone-breaking other prey in terms of combat. This allows Sarcosuchus to make effects on its bite much more painful and much more force to grip other prey. Unlike other dinos, its bite force might compete to the Rex's mighty and strong bite force when it comes to stat comparing. While Carcharodontosaurus tries to scare the super croc, the croc starts to approach near the shark-toothed scavenger dinosaur. Just a few moments of planning, Sarcosuchus begins the approach. Meanwhile, Carcharodontosaurus might go straight ahead the enemy. As the two fought, the crocodilomorph and the shark-toothed scavenger begin to face each other, head to head. Both creatures were striving to claim the victory on what predator would claim the throne as the real hunters of the Cretaceous. Just moments later, Saharicus begins the strike and rushes towards the crocodilomorph. The crocodilomorph, on the other hand, bites through the scavenger's legs, almost breaking it to death. Saharicus falls in pain and begins to be dethroned as the hunters of the Cretaceous. Sarcosuchus imperator gives weight and gets ready to bite the legs of the scavenger. The scavenger's legs were bit, and imperator puts him down till its death. Feeding to the scavenger's flesh, imperator eats through the hunter's body, making Carcharodontosaurus die from extinction. Carcharodontosaurus begins to fade away and turn into a carcass with leftover meat that Sarco bit through. Carcharodontosaurus was completely a failed hunter to try and kill this type of crocodilomorph. While the crocodilomorph claims its victory, reigning to be the next hunters of the lake, but there might be other Carcharodontosaurus that would have killed Sarcosuchus. Comaeosaurus is an extinct genus of Carcharodontosaur theropod dinosaur from the early Cretaceous. It was roughly 10 to 12 meters long and weighed around 1.6 tons or more, putting it at around the same size as the larger Allosaurus specimens known. This Comaeosaurus was dehydrated after chasing smaller prey that lived in the Cretaceous. And while this Comaeosaurus continued drinking, it met another predator much larger than that of the genus. Behind it was the Carcharodontosaurus saharicus, Just a few kilometers away from the Kelmaeosaurus, Carcharodontosaurus begins to sip the Amar water where Kelmaeosaurus was drinking. On the other hand, Kelmaeosaurus didn't notice the huge predator behind him and continued to see if no danger could bother Kelme. At that time, when he panned to the left, Kelme sees the main genus of its own kind and tries to see if it lived in peace with the genus. On the other hand, Carcharodontosaurus leaves the lake and sees his small genus panning at him and goes to scare him away. But this Kelmaeosaurus is about to attempt death if it would continuously kept attacking its bigger-sized genus. Carcharodontosaurus begins to rush and charge at the smaller version of his genus. Kelme moves away and goes for a plan to take the kill. While planning, Kelme ran out of ideas and moved on to strike. While planning to kill the own bigger self of its own genus, Kelme charges at the legs, making Carcharodontosaurus feel pain for a bit of time. But Saharicus managed to bite the opponent's tail, and it felt more painful than when Kelmaeosaurus bit on his more bigger genus. Once Kelme regenerates his pain away, he begins to do a few bites on his legs and tail to make Saharicus fall. But this time, Saharicus manages to bite the tip of the opponent's tail, making Kelme retreat to safety. With only a bleeding bite on the Kelmaeosaurus's tail, he began to stay away as if he was damaged. Up this battle, it won't try to kill the Carcharodontosaurus. If it tried, it would retreat. Carcharodontosaurus is about to face a humongous predator living in the Cretaceous period. This battle was known to be one of the other genus's intense fights that has been also experiencing in terms of combat. While Carcharodontosaurus goes for a drink, it met its enemy, that is much more bigger and known to be the biggest theropod that has been roaming the Cretaceous period. Spinosaurus aegyptiacus. Spinosaurus took the last sip of water and growls at the enemy and scaring him by its huge size. On the other hand, Carcharodontosaurus prepares combat, ready to knock the huge genus down. Viewing on Aegyptiacus's view, the genus prepares its primary weapon to strike the Carcharodontosaurus down using lethal blows. Carchar, on the other hand, moves away while still trying to plan on where he could aim his attack. But when he moved, Spinosaurus began to attack the tail of the genus, but it missed when it was about to get away. Then it scares him using his arms to scratch and mouth to clamp. The fight began, and Carchar ran out of ideas to kill the Spinosaurus. Just when the Saharicus gets serious, it began to leave no choice but to hit and bite the huge sail and neck of the Aegyptiacus. While being scratched, Carcharodontosaurus turns and hits Aegyptiacus's sail again to make Aegyptiacus unbalanced and claim defeat. This time, Saharicus triumphed and began to sip the swampy waters from where Spinosaurus drank at. On the other hand, Aegyptiacus begins to die from being hit on the sail and loses balance. Being a huge scavenger, Carcharodontosaurus might have been dangerous in terms of combat. Sipping peacefully through waters, Carcharodontosaurus gets hydrated and more energized after the intense fight. Even though Spinosaurus's big sail would be a threat to such prey and predator, it still remains a weak spot that can be broken by other predators in terms of combat. According to researchers, Spinosaurus's vertebra was recovered. Part of the broken neural spine edges were broken off. It have appeared to be bitten in half. Research suggested that the bite was inflicted by Carcharodontosaurus. Carcharodontosaurus took success in killing the huge creature, even though it lost ideas where to attack. but it would also stand defeat if Sahelicus failed to bite the other parts of its own rival. Suchomimus tenerensis is known to be one of the Spinosaurid genuses that have ever lived in the Cretaceous. Suchomimus might have been a weak predator that has ever existed in the African prehistoric history. And while Suchomimus walks, it gets dehydrated, needing for water, and hunger, needing for prey to hunt. Suchomimus was also known to have a disadvantage in terms of bulk, since it was built like its original genus, the Egypticus. At this point, this Suchomimus is a male according to gender, trying to hunt fish for its loved ones. With just a little sip of water, no fish was found for the Suchomimus to prey on, since they would have already hid or slept, or maybe died from one predator. Sarcosuchus imperator. The Sarcosuchus is known to be nicknamed as the super croc. It is also known to be a false crocodilian who lived in the river lakes of where Spinosaurus lived, or lived with the scavenger, Carcharodontosaurus. And while Imperator hunts at the night, it sees the Tyrannosaurus's legs appearing in the waters of where Sarcosuchus's territory is. As soon as Imperator rushes towards the Tyrannosaurus doesn't notice and kept fishing till just a few moments. It gets hit on its ankle. The super croc's strong bite force makes Suchomimus flee, but Suchomimus didn't attempt to do so and starts to tear it with its massive size. Sarcosuchus chases the opponent again, but yet the Suchomimus flees cowardly. Suchomimus is completely weakened, and its legs were sore, like a person's shin being hit by a metal rod. But when Suchomimus finally regains less effort to its feet and rushes to try and bite the crocodilomorph bites the legs of its opponent again to bone break Suchomimus and die from existence. The crocodilomorph and the croc mimicker wasn't as a fight that was as intense as the other theropods like Carcharodontosaurus and Spinosaurus fighting. Suchomimus was barely conscious to the bites that inflicted by Sarcosuchus on its legs. According to researchers, a Suchomimus leg was recovered. Part of the Suchomimus's feet were broken off. It had been appeared to be bitten off by Imperator's 9-ton bite force, and somehow making the mimicker turn into a loss of life, dying from hunger, thirst, and the loss of habitat. Sarcosuchus claimed victorious. Even though it would be smaller than its opponent itself, would it be a win or loss? It's the choice of these dinos on who'd be the boss.